Roger, you're muted now. Do you want me to?
There we go. Um, my partners in crime are Julie Hell with the Missouri Arts Council and Phyllis Paisley with the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education. And we want to welcome you to our April gathering of Behind the Scenes. A couple of housekeeping things is all are welcome. And we always know that people come and go, and it's that informal. We want to keep it that way. If you have questions during the presentation, please try to put them in chat. And I think, Phyllis, I'm going to ask you again to help me kind of keep track of those to make sure I don't get busy and forget them. And we will do a recording to them. It's going to be a couple of weeks before we put the recording up because they're redoing some of the website pages within the Department of Education, and I'm not trusting them putting things up right now. They seem to disappear. Today's presentation, you guys, a couple of months ago, I attended an online virtual conference in California, and it was dealing with our topic today of industry and arts education. And while I just kind of plopped in on it, it was pretty life-changing for me because I was mind-blowing experiences beyond where my thinking was. Presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation after hours after hours after hours, and it just kept going that way. And I haven't been able to get it out of my head to think, I think I want to share it. Today, I have some real specific goals where sometimes when I do a presentation and ask somebody to talk with us, I know what I want the end result to be. And today that doesn't exist at all. It's going to be that far out there for what we're going to do. And it really is going to be as simple as I'm hoping that maybe we plant some seeds today. My hope is today with our presentation that it'll push your thinking, that it will generate talk within the state of Missouri, that it'll raise questions, and that someone will peek through the, we could never do this because, and they might say, but yes, we can, but what if? And if I have one person that does that, then it's been worth all of our time today. And I really know that some people are going to say, some people back up here. Some people are going to say, we're already doing that. And if so, you need to get a hold of me so that I'm learning about that. And that becomes part of my vocabulary. Some of you are going to say, we could never do something like that because Allison may use as an example of something she's doing, something so far out of our reach, we couldn't do it with ladders and step stools and escalators to the 27th floor. But at the same time frame, we might be able to use what they have to say. But if we can't do that, what is it that we might be able to do? Some of you might say, we don't have that kind of industry involvement. And if so, we need to figure out what industry involvement we do have. And some of you are going to say that is so much bigger than who we are. And all of those can be very acceptable, but it is, I'm going to challenge you when we start here to allow yourself to question, and I'm going to ask you to own possibility. And if you will keep your head there through this whole entire presentation, you are in for an absolute great ride because I'm ready to introduce to you my good friend with Meaningful Education Industrial Partnerships. Here is Allison from the California Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And Allison, unmute and it's all yours.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Roger. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. So, what Roger is referring to is I had a meeting for what we've come to call the Arts, Media, and Entertainment Coalition. And truthfully, this emerged during COVID. We have never seen such interest in participating with public education from industry until March. And at that point, when work kind of came to a slow, creative industry was like, we want to help and give back to education. And something unique about California, which I put on this slide just so we have some context. Oh, can you go back one?
Sorry, my fault.
There you go, no worries. So I just to contextualize this presentation, in California, we're really unique with our arts and career technical education programs. Because creative industry is so prevalent and fuels the economy of the state, we have a robust career technical education program for arts, media, and entertainment careers. And so students, many, I should say many of these careers do not require a four-year degree. And so students in high school are trained with industry standards on how to get entry level work at the end of their high school. And these are the pathways. So we have the large, it's 231 kids, 231,000 kids in the state of California that are in career technical education arts programs. We have pathways in media arts, graphic design, visual and commercial art, professional dance, theater, and music, film and TV production, multimedia broadcast and audio production, stage technology, and animation and game design. And we're adding visual effects because there's a lot of work in the animation, game design, and VFX space right now. So you can go to the next slide. So really what I'm here to do is share with you a presentation or components of a presentation that Roger saw, which really was made up of our industry partners showcasing how they've intersected with public education and built opportunities to help bridge the divide between public school and creative workforce. The partners that I've selected to kind of show you today are all national. And I did that intentionally because these are folks that are able to work in different states across the country, and their programs are free and open. Some of them are more targeted and work with direct schools. Others are like virtual now. And so anybody can access and openly share with their students and resources. So the first partnership that I wanted to share has to do with our other government agency. So the California Film Commission has developed a tax incentive program for studios that shoot in the state. And as a component of that tax incentive, studios have to give back to career readiness. And that career readiness is I'm a piece of that. Hang on, I'm gonna just take a second and turn off my original sound because my kid's being very loud in the background, and I'm sure that you can probably hear him. Give me 1 second here. All right, I'm not sure if that worked, but okay. So the California Film Commission, if a studio decides to shoot a film in the state, they have a percentage of their tax credit that has to go back to education. So they work with several entities, and the California Department of Education is one of those. And so like we'll get large sums of money from like Fox Studios or Warner Brothers or whatever, and that check will go into our foundation. And so that gives me some discretionary funds to support career readiness opportunities. For instance, we were able to fund the development of an accounting curriculum for film and TV, because apparently there is a huge shortage of film accountants and there's not training that's there. So that's just one of the examples of things that we were able to do with this partnership with the Film Commission. Another example is we're building right now, and this is going to have national implications, and I'm super excited about this. We're building a youth apprenticeship program for animation, VFX, and game design. There is a huge desire from industry, including the International VFX Society, including multiple animation entities, Nickelodeon, Disney. Our advisory is huge. They want to increase access and create a diverse workforce. And these jobs are available to anyone internationally, right? And they don't have a pipeline to get young talent into these jobs. So we're going to be able to fund a nonprofit intermediary to support the mentoring and development of a youth apprenticeship program that will be registered nationally. So anybody who wants
That's massive.
It is pretty massive in this. And we're starting with VFX, animation, and game design because it's not unionized and we can move a little faster. But the really exciting part of this partnership with Film Commission is it's opened up doors with IATSE. Okay, so really one of the core components of the Film Commission program is a pilot skills training program that trains kids in skilled craft and trades, below the line work in production. And I had a meeting with IATSE Nationals Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee and their subcommittee for education. And they agreed to do an exploratory conversation around building some, we can't call it apprenticeship because that's a bad word, but we're going to build something nationally. And there were people from multiple states on this committee extremely excited to bridge opportunities for crafts and trades. So that's another example of the California Film Commission partnership I wanted to share that will have national implications. If that one's going to slow move a little bit. VFX animation is going to move a little quicker. So stay tuned for those two exciting things. So you can go to the next slide now. Roger. Thank you. Okay, this is also another really exciting thing. So Girls Make Beats is it's a national organization. They're actually out of Florida, but they are also housed in LA. And I've been working with them on an advisory council to try and figure out how do they scale their work, right? What they do is the founder of Girls Make Beats, who's an incredible woman, she was an audio engineer in Florida for hip hop and was in a completely male dominated industry. So she felt there was all kinds of problems there, right? In terms of the way that she was treated, in terms of the gender equity in the industry. So she established Girls Make Beats to kind of combat that and train young women in audio production and engineering. So what she's done now is created a club model that can be implemented in schools anywhere in the globe. Spotify sponsored her. They came in, and I don't know how public this is, so I can't really say the amount, but they came in with a large sum of money to make this happen. And so now anywhere in the nation, a school can launch a Girls Make Beats club, and it comes with all of the resources attached. So that's a really exciting example of something. There's a need. We want to scale that need. There's only so many of us. Here's how we do it. We do it through clubs. So that's one partnership I wanted to share. And you can go to the next slide. I think it just kind of goes into what Girls Make Beats is on this next slide. So the clubs are a really important part of helping, especially in the career tech ed space. Student leadership is a huge component. And we don't really have what we call in career tech ed a CTSO, or a career technical student organization that's focused on the arts. There's Skills USA is the closest one, but we don't have one. So what I did to support this development was show them all of the components of what makes a student leadership club and model viable, and then how to create that and replicate that with your own creative industry focus area. And so she used that and created this model, and it's really exciting, and it focuses on music production, DJing, and audio engineering. So girls learn industry standard software. They know how to use Ableton. With the Spotify partnership, everyone's going to be on Soundtrap at first because that's easy and cheap. And then they learn Pro Tools. Like, it's pretty incredible. All right, so you can go to the next slide. So really what I'm doing right now is just doing what I did, what Roger saw, where I'm just like, here's my partnerships and here's what they're doing to kind of stimulate ideas that might pop into all of your heads in terms of how this can look in your own worlds. So Nickelodeon, it's really interesting because you know how it is. It's always the people, right? Like, it's not, Nickelodeon's a huge entity. It's Viacom CBS. It's not Nickelodeon. It's Carson Smith that makes this possible. And Carson is, he made up his own job at Nickelodeon. He used to be in recruitment and HR, and now he's like community engagement, but his whole focus is education and giving back to public schools. And he carries Nickelodeon with him, which is really exciting. And so one of the things that Carson has made possible, again, through interaction with me and what the needs are of public schools, he has created master classes that are virtual. They launched it, and this is all like accessible to the nation. So they've created a Twitch channel that has ongoing master classes, and they're live. He's created a mentorship program. He got Nickelodeon to take high school interns, which is like a major big deal. It's really hard to get industry to deal with anyone underage. So he has a small cohort of high school interns that he's been able to engage, which is super exciting. And those interns come with mentors and mentors in animation. And so the students are selected based on their creative passion in being animators, and then partnered with the right mentor that is able to help coach them and help them. And they've actually Nickelodeon's hired kids out of this program. So this leads to work, right? And they do a film festival. They do something, I didn't add all the slides. They do something called the best field trip ever, where they'll create, and they've done this virtually too, where they like take tours of kids to the Nickelodeon studios and show them all of the different jobs people have. There's a lot of jobs in creative industry that people don't realize, right? Like, especially in the performing arts. And that's something that we've really tried to hone in on. And because there's no denying the fact that performing arts are talent based. If you want to be on stage, I mean, that's not a lie. Like, you have to audition, you have to be good enough, but that's not necessarily fair. And kids who want to pursue careers in the performing arts that might not make the cut, so to speak, should have that opportunity. And so what we try and do is build all these, like, this awareness around all those other opportunities in the performing arts off stage that will allow you to intersect and be part of that world without necessarily having to be the star, right? Because there's only one star. And so that's been kind of the mentality with all of our sectors, with animation, with all of these spaces. Like, not everyone's going to be that incredible, talented artist, but there's a job for you in the arts. So it's been very positive, I feel like, in engaging all students and creating a more comprehensive career technical education program for arts, media, and entertainment. You can go to the next slide. So BRIC Foundation. So this is an interesting, you can go to the slide right after. I think I have something. Oh yeah, there's not much here. But what I wanted to show you about BRIC, this is a nonprofit. It was started by 3 women. One of them was the creative director or the director of creative strategy at Sony Pictures Animation.
I'm going to interrupt you a second, Allison. I just want everybody to catch, she said there's not much here. It's just DreamWorks, Disney Animation Studios, BRC, Lightbox Expo.
Right.
There's not much here at all. Oh, hell no.
No, but that's what this is my advisory, by the way, for the Youth Apprenticeship Program. Okay, so here's the beauty of nonprofit entities that are supported by creative industry. They're the one boots on the ground doing the work. So BRIC is a nonprofit, but it's connected to all of these studios because the 3 women who run it are insane. They're incredible, but they're also working in industry. So Nicole's in game design, and Allison's animation, and Jill was animation. Now, what BRIC has done is created that kind of space between where the studios don't want to deal with public schools and the public schools don't even know how to get to the studios. BRIC has created a bridge. They're running mentorship programs. Women in Animation is another example of this. They're the ones that we're building the apprenticeship program with because they've got the industry partners and the industry wants a more diverse workforce. And they're like, oh, we only recruit from art schools that cost $70,000 a year. Why does our workforce look like this? And then BRIC's like, well, maybe you should look at public schools and start bridging it down and understanding that there are students, especially those in socioeconomically disadvantaged communities, that have never even known there's a career in animation, right? So let's target and build there instead of recruiting from the Cal Arts or whatever, right? So there's been this like kind of light bulb that's gone off in this space, and that's how, that's because of these nonprofit partners. And you can go to the next slide.